I realized at the end of the last video I sort of missed a trick, and that trick is telling you how to save your scene, because of course you want to make not one flower, but four, so that you can really practice these techniques. First, I'm going to save this one flower. I can do that by going to File, Save Scene As. In the Save Scene option box, you'll see that I have already saved this file. This one is called Single Flower 2020. What I'm going to do instead is I am going to save a version of it called Daisy 01. When you name your files, it's best to keep them short, and it's also best to give them numbers. This way you'll be able to save them in increments. Incremental save is great because it means that you always have a backup of your file in case something goes wrong, and things do occasionally go wrong. Generally, I say that when you're working, either about every 15 minutes or every time you make a really major change, it's good to save with a new increment. In my case, making this daisy probably took me no longer than 10 minutes working at my own, so this probably would be the first time that I'm saving the scene. As I go back through it and I add more detail, like a second level of petals or a stem, I would go through and save that as Daisy 02 or Daisy 03. That way if something goes wrong while I'm working on the Daisy 03 file, I can go back to the Daisy 02 file. You will see that as you increment on save, as you get to more complicated projects, eventually you will get to the point where you're making things like Dung Beetle 52, Dung Beetle 53. It happens. You're going to want to give yourself a lot of increments available so that you can go through and save both frequently and numerically. So I will go ahead, I will save this as Daisy 01. When I'm ready to start making my next flower, I will press Ctrl N. That gives me a nice new Maya scene. I'll go ahead and make a very simple cube. We'll give it a little bit of height. We'll turn that depth down pretty low. We'll give it some subdivisions height. We'll give it some subdivisions width. I'll just press the 3 key here, make a little petal out of it. And this time I will just be very loose with what I'm doing, so I can do this really quickly. We'll do that, that, and that. Come over here to my side view, take a couple of these, pull them up. We'll exaggerate this one. I will pull this one back. And I'm going to scale this so it's a little bit thinner at the tips. That looks like a super fun flower petal. So back in object mode, I will take my D key, move my pivot point, my X key, snap down to the origin, and duplicate special. I'm not going to be making 11 copies of this one. Maybe I will make 5. Let's see what a 45-degree rotation gives me. Looks like I could go a little higher on the rotation value. Let's try a 60-degree rotation. Perfect. This will be my second flower. You'll note that it is just called P-cube, which is really annoying. But that's okay. This is just a little example. And there's my new flower. So I will save this one as new flower 01. When I'm ready to start making my vase, Ctrl N. Maya has an import option. Right in the file menu, I can take import, and that will allow me to Maya Projects, Default, Scenes. Here is my new flower. I can import that. And there it is. And then I can go back to import. It should take me back to the same location. There is Daisy 01. I'm not actually ready to start importing these into a scene together at this point. I need to do some organization with them first. You can see over in my outliner that this is really messy, and I don't like mess. So this is just a trick for you. I want you to save your flowers in their individual scenes so that you can continue to work on them and edit them as much as you need. And this is a great time for you to practice your saving. Remember, in the File menu under Save Scene As, increment your saves and try to save as Maya ASCII. ASCII files are less likely to corrupt than binary files. I hope you really enjoy making your flowers. I think it's a lot of fun, and I hope that you get to practice these techniques and that you feel like you're learning a lot while you're doing it. See you soon.